Hello, crafty friends. It's Diane, the Creative Inkster, and I'm here for my third and final live presentation today, September 7th, on our 12 days of the holidays. And the bundle that I chose to feature is Hang an Ornament. And I've had two presentations so far earlier today, so scroll on up to the top if you're just reading this one now or seeing this one now, and you'll have these in the album eventually. I'm working on that later after I'm all done these lives. Here's the card I made showing how to make an ornament advent calendar, a mini version, and then I've also given you the dimensions and what I did for my 12 by 12 version. That was my first video. My second one was using the ornaments actually cut out or pulled out of their little frames, and made a nice little card with that, changed up a little from my sample. And I'm doing a third card right now. I'm going to post another video that I recorded a little while ago. It doesn't really talk about the mini catalog product, but it talks about using background stamps and how I add stickers to my stamps, and gives you a few pointers there. So I'm hoping that'll be of help. Oh, thank you, Vicki. So glad to have you back here with me. So without further ado, here is my third card using this bundle, but I'm also pulling in some other products. So I've used Season of Elegance paper, I've used Sentimental Christmas, and now I'm going to use Reindeer Days on this one. The big feature on this card is measuring to get the circles at the top from the ornament and the bottom outside of my patterned paper so that they kind of protrude. I thought originally about doing like a collage stamping, but I really kind of liked this. I saw something similar online for inspiration when I created it, and I wanted to go with that. So this bundle's on page 44 of the Holiday Mini, or the September to December Mini, over here on the left-hand side. There's other samples right there. Definitely shows putting them as Christmas ornaments, and my advent calendar will talk to that. You get 9 stamps in the stamp set and 12 coordinating dies. And we're going to probably use up every stamp at this point, pretty much every stamp with my presentation. Okay, so let's get going on this card. Here are the pieces that we need. I want to show you what I did with the reindeer paper in order to have this land the way that I wanted it to. So I've got a card base of real red that is 8.5 by 5.5, so standard card base, whatever your market is. Scored in the middle, fold it over, and burnish. I was sharing earlier how if you are a strong burnisher like me, put a piece of card there, or copy paper or scratch paper, and that will help keep it from getting a shiny line along there when you're burnishing. And on the inside, I'm going to put a piece of white. So this is 4 by 5.25 to have an actual border on the inside that fits with a nice little, inside layer that fits with a nice little border appearing. Now I played a little bit with using the Holly and Ivy here, and wasn't quite sure how successful I was in it, so this was the iteration I landed on. So in the stamp set, you'll find this little leaf, and you'll have this circle, which can be used for a lot of different things, but it tends to be the berries. So I'm using shaded spruce. I'm going to ink this up full strength. And it was about, when I was practicing, it was about getting the alignment the way that I wanted for those leaves to look more realistic, but it is a bit of a cutesy stamp as well, and so the realistic piece doesn't kind of fit in quite as well. Here we go, and we'll clean our stamp as we go because I'm really good at getting ink all over the place. So I did get my hands a little bit clean from the last video. And then I'm going to use my really old ink spot of Real Red, because I left my Real Red and Cherry Color ink pads at my daughter's 2 weekends ago, thinking I don't need them. And clearly at this time of the year I do need them. So there are the berries, but thankfully I have these ink spots kicking around from old paper pumpkins. And for positioning, I kind of got the first dot within the little rounded edge of the leaf there. So this needs a little re-inking, I think. And put this one here, and then this one up here. So I use my ink spots. You can buy uninked ink spots in our annual catalog. And I have lots from Paper Pumpkin, but to round out the other colors, I have bought them and used my re-inkers on the empty ink spots and made them to go. And why would I do this when I have all the ink pads? Well, it's because when I go to crops and I want to take all my colors because I can't decide what I'm working on, this way I have every color in a small Paper Pumpkin box, all 50 colors. And I just need to take my full-size tuxedo black. So that is why I have this. It seems redundant, but it works. All right. Then in here, I'm going to glue this in. I mean, if you're going to buy the re-inkers anyway, and it works for me. I just fit them all into a little Paper Pumpkin box, and I'm good to go. Imagine the space saving. Okay, I'm going to get the inside in and flip that over and consider it done. All right, we're going to set this aside for now. We're going to do some stamping while we're waiting. Okay, so what are we waiting for? I don't know. On my Advent calendar ornament, I showed you using a 2 1/4 inch square piece of cardstock. And I did find it much easier to die cut first and then stamp. So that's what we're going to do on this card. So find the die. Here you are. Pull the Stampin' Cut and Mini guy in. Remember to stagger your clear plates. It makes it go through so much more easily. It's just that the 2 1/4 inch piece fits so nicely for having space to pop it up, as I have on here, to pop it up on your card for revealing your message on the inside, as well as getting all your stamping in. So that's just a good size for this. And we want to center it all the way around so that the top is straight across there as best we can. There we go. Let's put this through. I'm going to cut first. And then we're going to stamp. And then we're going to take this piece of real red and we're going to cut out the scalloped piece. And that's just going to add a little bit more definition and pop of color for my card here. And of course you're going to pick whatever colors work for the pattern paper you have behind. So I might have used Old Olive or Mossy Meadow or something if those colors were more prominent in this particular paper. All right, so we got that piece cut. And then next we're going to have 2 small pieces. So I've got this pole piece. This is a stamp in the stamp set, and it just tells the recipient to pull away here to reveal a message. Now when I did this one, I did not cut it out with the little arrow, but that's what I'm going to do this time to kind of change it up a little bit. So I've got a piece of scrap white here. I'm going to stamp this in shaded spruce. Cut that out afterward. I'm going to do it again because I didn't do a really nice job. Ooh, okay. I'm going to not stamp on the plate because that's probably where things are going awry here. Let's clean it up and start afresh. And doing it in white so that it stands out a wee bit. It won't be overly obvious, but it'll stand out a little bit. Let's go again. There we go. Look at that. So that's a good testament to stamping directly on some kind of a matte surface and not on a wobbly surface or a surface that has lots of dips to it. All right, here's my greeting. I'm going to do this in red, and we're going to die cut it out with that little label that comes in the set. You don't need anything else to make the project, like no other stamp sets and such with this project. So we'll do just for you. go. Clean that up. And we got a couple things to die cut out. So let's grab this one. And this is where my little new product, repositionable tape, comes in handy. We got this huge roll, I don't know, I think it was $15 or something off Amazon from 3M, repositionable tape. And by putting it on here, it helps to keep your pieces in place. I used to use like little sticky notes. This is actually better. It's better tape, and it's reusable, reusable, reusable. It's got a lot more sticky on the back of it. So let's get the top piece. Cut this guy out. I'm finding I'm doing a lot less extra cutting when it shifts on me. One day I think we'll have a magnetic mat again, and that will work with our new machine and newer machine, and that will be perfect. But in the meantime, this is a wonderful solution. And then I've got that little arrow die. So I want to think about the direction I want that arrow to be in. So I'm going to put the pull sign on this side with the arrow pointing down into my ornament. Let's hope that going down there blindly, that will stay, that will position itself nicely. There we go. Apologies for the table shaking. My camera's not wall mounted in any way, so it's just right on the table beside me. There we go. And that's sticky, even though I've used it a number of times, it's still good. I'll still be able to use it with more projects later today when I'm in my craft room enjoying a nice fall day. Okie doke. That's all our stamping done and die cutting out. So we can build this piece. We're going to stamp the ornament on, and I've chosen the Reindeer Days paper, and it has more of a feel of this of the two stamps. So I'm going to go with this one out of the two in the set. I'm going to ink it up with Shaded Spruce. And then we're shooting to get that top ornament holder piece right in the center of the circle. And I tried it both ways, die cutting first and stamping first, and die cutting first seems to work better for me. Everyone looks at things differently. All right, I'm just going to give everything a quick wipe here so that we know that our stamps are all clean for putting them away. Radio. That's all done. Let's add this to the center. Put a little bit of liquid glue on the back. You know how it dries out sometimes a little bit. Sometimes I have a tendency to leave it on my table uncapped a little bit. In fact, I had one the other weekend and I had it uncapped. Could not find the cap. The cap had fallen on the floor, rolled away, could not find it. Thankfully, it was mostly done. And then I moved the chair, and lo and behold, I found the cap. So I've kept it as an extra because you never know when that kind of situation will arise again. And because once I had left it uncapped all night, didn't survive. But it was mostly done anyway, so I wasn't too muffed about it. I'm going to liquid glue this directly down. So I bet that we have other small greetings in your card stamping, your stamp set stash that could use this small little die. Or what else could you do with it? This little rectangle? You could die cut strips of leftover cardstock and patterned paper and line them up on a card. Like, you can use these and the scallop for other things beyond just what you see here. And then we're going to continue with putting our dimensionals on the back. Now I'm not going to put a message on this one because it's just a sample card for me, But if you were going to put a message on, you would want to do that before you glued this all together. Just from experience, rather share that little tidbit of information with you. But I don't have a message to put. But I would or could actually, that was my other thought, was I could use the reindeer. So I was playing around with the reindeer paper with some leftover bits, and I had cut these ones out. So when you pull this and you're going to see behind there one of the reindeers, I'm going to glue this on the back so that when it comes off it's a bit of an ornament or tag that somebody could use on a card. So add a little bit of liquid glue to the back. I'm keeping away from the hole so that I don't glue the hole shut with where I can put my twine through. There we go. So yeah, so if you envision that they tear this off, that's what they'll see on the other side. Let's use this and poke through our hole. So on my sample, I used some twine from Natural Tones Linen Thread. It's a 3-pack. So if your paper had more blues in it for Christmas, this would be great. It's navy, garden green, and copper clay. And so I realized after I had used the garden green version, but it wasn't really what I intended. So today we're going to try using this twine instead. I'm going to slide that through. I've been having a little trouble. There we go. Way more success now. And then pop the top of the ornament back a little bit so that I can feed this back through. There we go. Grab the scissors and just pull it through. There we go. And yeah, I cut a little bit more of the twine this time around to give me a little bit more to work with. Move this down. I don't want the tag to be, or the twine to be too long. And then snip off the excess. There we go. So that's ready to go on. And our little pull tab is going to go here. And I think I'm just going to liquid glue it in place. Or glue dot. Whatever is your favorite. I hope I've shown you some various different ways to use this bundle. When I get a stamp set, specifically a bundle, but even with stamp sets, I like to have various projects made with it. I try to get at least 4 cards made with every one so that I have lots of variety to share with customers and with friends. And amazingly, I have a reason to send all the cards. All right, let's work on the card base and how we're going to get these ornaments to line up nicely. So this took a little math, and math can be hard. I get that. So what I found was I needed a pencil and a ruler. And this will work no matter the card base size you're working with, because as long as you cut your designer series paper to 2 inches, this is going to... Is this going to work? Let me think. Oh, you may have to adjust your designer series paper, but on a 8.5 inch long piece with the fold, I'm going to put a pencil mark down at 1 3/8 inch down from the fold. Just line this up here. Could use my grid paper because I want it to be quite perfect. I want to get it in the right place. So 1 3/8 on either side. This is just a reference point for myself. It's going to be hidden by my stamping. There's a 1/4, there's a 1/2, so right in the middle is 3/8. And then from the bottom, I'm going to measure up 1 inch on both sides. Once again, just a little measurement for myself. You don't even have to use a pencil if you don't want to. You could score it if you wanted to. But I just wanted to have that there. So I've got my pencil mark 1 3/8 inch down from the fold at the top and 1 inch up from the bottom. And then we're ready to do our stamping. I like to stamp through in 1 layer only. And I'm going to get my head in the middle here. How I got this lined up, hopefully I can do quite well, was where my pencil mark is going to be the middle of my stamp. So through that opening you can see on the stamp there, that's what you're shooting for, that landing where your white is. So actually, I think I did do this. I went through, that's right, and I put an actual line so I can see that pencil line. It's going to be hidden by the designer series paper or the stamping, either way. You're not going to see this line. Okay, that makes more sense. And so I know that I can get one on the left and one on the right. And typically when I'm trying to center something, I'll put the left one on, the right one on, and then middle one afterwards. But they fit really nicely across. So I don't need to do that. I just need to get them straight. So that's the goal here today, is to get these landing straight. And we're doing color on tone stamping. So real red onto real red cardstock. So that should not matter how deep the color is. So I'm shooting to get that line in the middle of that opening there. And I had it in my sights. There's one. So we're going to do 6 times. We're going to stamp this. It's a little bit lighter because my other ink pad, when I did the sample, was a little juicier. No worries. And if you find as you get across that it's not even on the right side, like you've got more showing on one and it bothers you, just cut off your side a little bit. Okay. There we go. Oh, I'm really happy with how that turned out. So there's my stamping. There's my line sort of gray through the middle, and it went right through the center. So I'm going to do the same on the bottom. So it just took a little math, a little working it out. Mr. James, my math teacher from grade 9, would have been proud of me using my math skills. I was not a very good student of math. I had to actually take, out of my 6 classes I think I had back that year, I spent 3 of them in Mr. James's classroom doing math projects and relations and functions. It was so difficult. I could not understand this stuff. And so I didn't have to take French because I came from a French school, so I was exempt from taking French, and I had a spare, and I had the math class. And I've never forgotten Mr. James and his patience with me. All right, that worked out wonderfully as well. So now it looks messy in the middle. Not to worry, we're going to cover it up. So when you get your Reindeer Days paper, and it's 12 inches across, oops, that's upside down, 12 inches across, you're going to cut a 2-inch strip. And you might have to go through and trim it down a bit. I've forgotten when I started at the top. I can't remember if this is the top or this is the bottom, because I've cut into this already. But what I want to have for this is I want that reindeer to be in the middle. So I'm looking at 2 inches. So what I can do is see my 2-inch mark here and know how close I need to kind of get down so that the reindeer head also fits. So you may have to trim off a little bit of excess at the top so that you get your 2-inch strip down here. So I've already cut it, and I want to show you what happens with your 12-inch piece. So here's your 12-inch piece. Let me get this out of the way. Here's your 12-inch piece. This is the piece on the end. No, yes. There we go. Okay, so that's what your 12-inch piece looks like. And I wanted the reindeer so that my center one was there and I had it even on both sides. So what I did was I cut it at 5.5. That's a little bit less than 5.5. Is that because that goes there? No, I'm just trying to layer it back up. So I needed it to be 5.5. Right. So I cut it so that I had 3 together, and then I snipped a little piece off the end, so it's 5.5. It's a lot of math. Anyhow, you get where I'm going with it. So on the front, between those black pencil marks, I'm going to land this guy here. And then you get the cute look of the ornaments on either side of your patterned paper. You could even put another layer of cardstock to make this pop. Why don't we do that? While we're changing stuff up anyway, let's grab some shaded spruce from my scraps. Nope, gotta cut into a new piece. Here we go. Let's get some shaded spruce and let's add that for another pop of color. So it has to be 5.5 inches wide, which it is, and I'm going to make it 2 1/4. And that just gives it a nice little border. Like that. Oh, wait a second. It is 2 1/4. What am I doing, or did I grab the wrong side? Oh, I apologize. This is 2 1/4 tall. So I need a piece to be 2 1/2. Alrighty, so cut it off at half. So when I take a piece, this is good learning. So when I take a piece of cardstock and I need to cut into it, I always cut it at 5.5 or 4 1/4, like I cut it in half. So now I have a full card base left. Then I cut into this piece. So I'm going to turn it to 2 1/2. So another little tip from my craft room. So now that I have this scrap that goes in my scrap bin, but I also have a whole other half cardstock, because I've seen people go in and they cut both ends of the paper and then they lose the whole opportunity to have another card base. So let's going to add this, and that's going to look even better. So with our glue on the back of the patterned paper, so my reindeers will show. I'm going to glue this layer on. There we go. Shore it up a bit so it's straight. Now we're going to glue it over top, and we're still going to see that beautiful ornament on either side, but look at how that pops more. I like it. All right, we're going to glue this down. No popping up needed. We're going to pop up the ornament. Almost at my 30 minutes here. Okay, once again, turn it on its side, tap it down so that it lines up straight, or as straight as it gets some days. Some days it's not cooperating, but liquid glue allows you the flexibility to wiggle it into place. All right, and so then here is this piece going on here, and you just kind of have to start with it at the top, and I found as I just pushed it down, I knew I was in the middle where the lovely reindeer would pop when I pull this off. I'll pull the other one off so you can see how that worked out. You could put peekaboo, you could put happy birthday, Merry Christmas, from us to you, whatever you want. There. Oh, and we're lining it up flush with the Designer Series paper. There we go. And that's our finished card. So they'll have a little tag that they can play with. I'm going to show you this one. So when we pull it off here, you'll see that, oh yeah, it is hanging on. There we go. The reindeer shows up in the center, and then, oh, I just put just for you on both sides, and I had stamped this one. I'd forgotten. I've done it such a long time ago. Alrighty, so that's my third card. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I just love it. Yeah, I do too. The green mat makes such a difference. I really appreciate you being here and watching these videos as you can this weekend or this week. And if you have any questions, let us know. Remember to check in with your demonstrator that invited you to the event, and get your order in by the 15th to earn the lovely tutorial bundle that we're going to share with you, and come back for more inspiration in the future. We do these every 2 months. 12 days is a bit that we've done in September, and we'll be back to a couple of days, like a Friday, Saturday. And my name is Diane, the Creative Inkster, and I thank you very much for being here with me. Take care. Bye.